This is the Santa Cruz Sasquatch in California. It's a mountain area near the Santa Cruz community where it's a very well-to-do beach area with a lot of tourists. What would you say? It's upper-class people?
It's a typical hippie beach town, but it is upper class. But there's a lot of, hitchhikers in the area. It's a surfer town. Santa Cruz is a surfer town.
Going east a little bit are these mountains, and there's several Bigfoot families in the mountains.
One that we've captured, the family.
Yeah, it's actually, this is like the fourth one we've captured, then if that was a family of three. We've been talking about how different things, like the earthquake in Japan and the subsequent radiation have affected the area, especially around Santa Cruz. And we'd also talked about how, let's say, things such as volcanoes. And Mount St. Helens is an area in Washington State that is a prime Bigfoot area. And in 1980, there was a volcanic eruption of tremendous proportions, and it destroyed 230 square miles.
I mean, can you imagine 230 square miles? All of the wildlife and plant life was laid to waste. I mean, it literally looked like the surface of the moon.
It absolutely did, except for some like flattened trees. But from a long shot, it really looked like you were looking at Mars or the moon or something.
Now, has anybody recovered remains of Bigfoot in that area? Are there Bigfooters in that area?
Now, with 230 miles, square miles, 200, I mean, it's something you have to wrap your head around. Something like, I think...
It's an outrageous amount of territory.
Let me just make a comparison to that. Now, Disneyland, I think, is 1 square mile. Have you heard that?
I haven't, but
if you've ever been to Disneyland, right. Let's say that's 1 square mile. This is 230 square miles.
And if you've ever been to Disneyland, it takes you the entire day to walk around there.
Yeah, to get to the whole area, and plus, especially if we were in a forest area with 1 square mile.
And most people stay at the hotel and spend 2 days or more just to cover the entire area.
Right. Now, with a forest, you're talking about areas with dense with trees and plants, and some areas that are hard to traverse. You don't have like walkways to get around.
I mean, that's simply a perfect place to launch a balloon and float slowly and survey the area.
I wonder if Jeffrey Meldrum has thought about that. It's amazing seeing photographs of Mount St. Helens that were from around that time period, how much it looks like an atom bomb went off. Let me just go back a step. That was an explosive volcano. Some volcanoes just seep out lava and they slowly destroy the town, but slowly but surely will knock over houses.
How many miles into the stratosphere did the volcanic ash go that just covered everything?
Yeah, and it affected breathing. Now, we wonder how many Bigfoot were killed during that. Mount St. Helens is Bigfoot territory. How many square miles?
Also, I mean, really, typically animals sense these things far sooner than humans do, and probably could have retreated into a safe area.
Now, I've heard that about animals relating to earthquakes. I have not heard that as far as relationship but that's also, the earth moving underneath the crust, so maybe
the U.S. Geological Survey were constantly on this, monitoring it, because they knew the Earth was moving, and there was volcanic action happening at that mountain at the time.
But even they couldn't predict the exact moment it would take off. There was one researcher, at least, that was killed there, and they didn't know it until later. I mean, they assumed he was. They knew where he was, and he was right near the Mount St. Helens volcano.
I'm just wondering if the animals can sense that much sooner and maybe even retreat into a safe area.
But if it took out 230 square miles,
that's unprecedented, I'm sure.
But no, how could an animal travel to safety?
Yeah, I just don't know if they would have traveled that far.
And there's been musings about how that affected Bigfoot, but we'll never know because, I mean, I don't know if there's any bones left of any animals after the...
Maybe they were just completely destroyed beyond any recognition.
And maybe just culturally, Bigfoot knows after centuries of living in that area,